Barry, you don't need it. 3:30? No, trumpet voluntary. 3:09. Here we go. 3, 4.
Good afternoon. As chair of the Board of Trustees, I call the investiture of the 9th president of Bentley University to order. I call Professor Iris Boudreau, University Marshal, to guide these exercises.
Welcome. It is our practice as a non-sectarian university to invite a member of the clergy to participate. I call upon Reverend Willie Baudrick II to offer the invocation. Please rise, if able, for the invocation and remain standing for America the Beautiful, performed by our student a cappella group, Off the Clock.
Let us prepare for our invocation. O God, our God in ages past, and our hope for years to come, we gather on this glorious day humbly thanking you for life, health, and strength, knowing that we've come this far by faith. We invoke your presence and ask your blessing on the Bentley University and all those who represent this great academic institution. As you have called Dr. LaBrent Chrite as Bentley's first African-American and 9th president for such a time as this. As we emerge from this darkness of pandemic into the light of a new day, we pray your blessings upon Dr. Chrite and his family as he takes the mantle of leadership to ensure the vitality of this institution in the midst of these turbulent times. Though many of us have lost, we have yet also gained. And through the leadership of Dr. Chrite, we pray that where there are obstacles, help him to overcome. Where there is hurt, help him to bring healing. Where there is confusion, help him to bring clarity. And where there is rupture, help him to bring resolve. So that every student from every walk of life will be able to intimately engage in knowledge and gain understanding so that they can become the leaders of positive change. So we ask on this day that you bless Dr. Chrite's efforts to encourage, inspire each and every student to utilize their education to lead and to innovate, because it is their contributions that will give each and every one of us hope. We bless this community that it be inclusive, compassionate, supportive, and that it continues to value diversity and embrace all of our differences as we share in this human community, because we all know that there's power in the collective us. Therefore, I pray that each and every trustee, alumni, dedicated administrator and staff, and most importantly, every single student at this university will get behind Dr. Chrite's vision for this school so that it might rise to higher heights. Frederick Douglass said, man's greatness consists in his ability to do and the proper application of his power to do the things needed to be done. Grant Dr. Chrite the heart, the mind, the creativity, the spirit, and the strength to do the things that are needed to be done. Grant Dr. Chrite the clarity of a falcon to see the path forward when others cannot. For I truly do believe that eyes have not seen and ears have not heard what God has in store for Bentley University. So God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, thou who hast brought us thus far along the way, thou who is by thy might, lead Bentley University into the light and keep us forever in the path we pray. Let every heart and mind say together, amen.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of gray, for purple mountain majesties above the rooted plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee.
sees beyond the years. Thine alabaster cities gleam, undimmed by human tears. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crowned thy good with brotherhood, from sea to shining sea.
Thank you, Reverend Broderick, and our talented Bentley students. I call Paul Condrin to continue the ceremony.
President Chrite, Phyllis Chrite, Ellery Jr., Adriana, Jordan, and the extended Chrite family, Dr. Deborah Spar, Dr. B. Joseph White, esteemed delegates, and members of the Bentley faculty, trustees and trustee emeriti, cabinet members, and past presidents, students, staff, alumni, and honored guests. Welcome to this momentous occasion. This is a historic day for Bentley University. For only the 9th time in a 105-year history, Bentley will install a new president for our university and a new leader for our community. With today's inauguration, I'm excited and honored to officially welcome E. LaBrent Chrite as Bentley's new president. Yesterday and today, students, alumni, trustees, faculty, staff, friends of the university, and delegates from other colleges and universities have come to campus to celebrate and recognize this milestone. It has been a fittingly inclusive moment for this close extended community of ours. If you are a Falcon, student, alumnus, faculty member, staff, it is wonderful to see you here today. If you are visiting Falcon for the day, thank you very much for coming and celebrating with us. And if you are joining us online today by live stream, thank you for taking the time to tune in. We appreciate having you with us. It would be difficult to find someone who more closely represents Bentley's commitment to business as a force for good than Brent Chrite. President Chrite personifies our strong belief in the power of business to create solutions to human problems. For much of his career, he has dedicated himself to improving business education, developing market-based economies, and expanding economic opportunities for organizations and people around the world. President Chrite is a shining example of the type of leader we hope all of our students aspire to be. Using knowledge, wisdom, compassion, and a strong business mindset to change the world. I am glad to see so many of you here today so you can recognize firsthand, as I have been able to do, that President Chrite is the right leader for Bentley. The world is changing quickly, and so is higher education. With his bold vision, fresh perspective, and strong background combining higher education and the private sector, I know that our university is poised for success today, tomorrow, and for years to come. As an alumnus and parent of 2 fellow Falcons, I could not be more excited about President Chrite's leadership of our community. Since he first joined our community nearly a year ago, we have waited in anticipation for this special moment. I think it tells you everything you need to know that instead of celebrating this inauguration last fall, President Chrite asked that it be pushed back so we could focus on our students and the university's operations and getting Bentley back to business. That says a lot about Brent Chrite. And now the day is here as we gather to officially install Dr. LaBrent Chrite as Bentley's 9th president. Know that the Board of Trustees has every confidence that he possesses exactly the right combination of background, strengths, and skills to move the university forward to even greater distinction and prominence. Thank you for being here today to share our pride in Bentley and our confidence in the future of this great university. Everyone can please take a seat.
Thank you, Chair Condrin. Thank you for your politeness. I now invite trustee and member of the class of 2002, LaBrent Moses, to the podium to recognize the work of the Presidential Search Committee on behalf of trustee Nick Stavropoulos.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I want to take a moment to offer thanks to the Presidential Search Committee and its chair, Nicholas Stavropoulos, class of 1979. Nick was originally planning to be with us today, but I will do my best to share his thoughts in his place. There is no greater responsibility of the Board of Trustees of a university than the selection of a president. But thanks to the input of many in our community, including many of you who are here today, it's clear that we achieved our goal in selecting the best candidate to lead our university. To members of this community who so thoughtfully served on the search committee, I and the entire Bentley community owe thanks, sincere thanks, for all of your time and hard work. And to the thousands of alumni, students, faculty, staff who joined listening sessions, gave feedback along the way, I thank you for being so engaged in this process. Your participation, hard work, helped us to choose the impressive new leader that you see before us today. A leader with the perfect background in higher education and international market-based economies to educate the business leaders of tomorrow for this interconnected world. A leader who will challenge us to continue adapting and reinventing business education as the marketplace changes, just as we have been doing for over a century at Bentley. A leader who may look unlike any we've ever had, but whose commitment to using business to do good in the world represents every single one of us. A leader we can all be proud to recognize today as Bentley's 9th president, LaBrent Chrite. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Moses. We now welcome members of our community to offer greetings on behalf of our undergraduate students, graduate students, faculty, staff, and alumni. I invite Tiana Rossi, President of the Student Government Association and fellow member of the class of 2022, President of the Africana Student Association, and Senior Advisor of the Mankind Movement, Hassan Hassan, to deliver the welcome remarks on behalf of our undergraduate students.
I'm a little short, sorry, I gotta step up. When I first came to Bentley, I noticed everything around me, and I took in as much as I possibly could from top to bottom. I especially noticed the leadership around me and how we as students interacted with administration and upper-level faculty. I noticed how my professors welcomed me into class and warmly encouraged office hours, and I noticed how many times I saw deans around campus. Since President Chrite has been on campus, I notice how active he is in our community and how important he makes his presence known to students. Bentley is going through a lot of changes right now, and there is no one more equipped to lead us as President Chrite. His commitment to camaraderie and Bentley's core values, as well as the growth of each and every student, shines through his leadership style. I am incredibly sad to be leaving Bentley this spring, but at the same time, I'm happy to be leaving campus in such capable hands. President Chrite, I am grateful for the changes you have already enacted, and I can't wait to see what the future holds.
American author John Maxwell once said that a leader is one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. If you were to attach that description to a leader, Dr. LaBrent Chrite is a true reflection of it. His connection with students and his continuous act of being there and showing up for them has made his presence felt on this campus. His dedication to using business for the betterment of society is a reflection of what being a Bentley student should be all about. It is without a doubt that after only a couple of months at being at Bentley University, he has been able to make an immense impact. It is an honor for me to welcome the 9th president of Bentley University, Detroit's very own, President LaBrent Chrite.
Thank you, Tiana and Hassan. I now call Lisa Borisova, President of the Graduate Student Association, and fellow members of the graduate class of 2022, Tai Chan and Hiral Mehta, to the stage.
First, happy 309th day of work, President Chrite. I recall our first interaction at the Board of Trustees meeting and how comfortable President Chrite made me feel right away. He showed interest in my background and made me feel valued, not just as a member of the Bentley community, but as a person. After attending that meeting, I saw how motivating and empowering he was in encouraging us to make a real change at Bentley. During my time as the president of Graduate Student Association, I have seen President Chrite take the time to understand the wants and needs of graduate students, respond to our concerns and crises, and make sure Bentley will be a force in everything we do. He is the true catalyst in bringing ideas into execution. On behalf of the graduate students, thank you for all your work so far. We're so excited to see how much you will support, challenge, and inspire us going forward.
With my immense admiration and joy, I am honored to have the opportunity to celebrate with you in Bentley University at your official presidential inauguration. Congratulations, President Chrite, on your inauguration as the 9th president of our distinguished academic institution. It's too bad that I have to graduate so soon. However, I am looking forward to learning about all the great ways you will improve upon an already great educational experience. I genuinely believe you will lead with your vision and passion and inspire us as you guide Bentley University into a new era of excellence. I wish you all the success and personal fulfillment in your decisions toward what is best for Bentley University students, faculty, and staff.
I'm honored to welcome President Chrite to Bentley University today on behalf of the entire graduate student community. President Chrite joins us as the university prepares to reach higher grounds in an ever-changing external environment. The pandemic has changed the way we conduct business today. I'm confident that under his leadership, Bentley is well prepared to address the challenges of tomorrow and make its students effective contributors in the new paradigm. I see President Chrite as the president of the masses. Through my interactions with him, both formally and informally, be it at Bentley graduate events or at the gym, what stuck with me is his rigor and passion to make a difference and create a strong, diverse, and engaging community. I'm confident that with his openness to listen to students and take their feedback, Bentley University has its best days ahead of it. Welcome to Bentley, President Chrite.
Thank you, Lisa, Ty, and Haral. I now call Kiana Pierre-Louise, member of the class of 1999 and senior lecturer of law and taxation, and Pon Suvanaseng, assistant professor of global studies, to deliver greetings on behalf of faculty.
Hey, Bentley. Welcome, President Chrite, to Bentley University. I am honored to stand here today and welcome Bentley's first Black president. To a place that I call home as an undergraduate student and then as a lecturer in the Law and Taxation Department. I know firsthand that Bentley University prepares students to be leaders in business and technology, to be entrepreneurs, to be lawyers, to be professors, activists, politicians, global strategists, book writers, and so much more. Through our over 100 years in existence, we have been agile and have adapted to this ever-changing higher education environment to maintain our status as a leader in business education. There is no one I can think of to be at the helm of my alma mater and lead Bentley into its next phase of excellence than you, President Chrite. You are collaborative and are a visionary and transformative. You have this transformative mindset that makes you poised to be a leader. You are willing to walk around campus and talk to everyone in the community to make holistic decisions, always keeping in the forefront of your mind that we must do what is best for Bentley and the students we are charged to serve. Thank you very much.
We are living through a time of incredible transformation and uncertainty. We are living through dramatic environmental, epidemiological, social, and political change around the world. These reverberations are being felt globally through war, rising prices, social upheaval, and pandemic illness and death. Bentley is a distinct and unique community with a legacy of emboldening change leaders. On behalf of Bentley faculty, I welcome President Chrite in joining us on a mission to expand the community's social and global reach and to act with purpose. We are here to train and equip the next generation of bright minds who will be tasked with addressing the challenges laid out for us. We have a mandate set out for us from our present community and alumni to expand the capacity and reach of this institution, to do so with concern for inclusivity, thoughtful deliberation, and care for the footprint that we create. President LaBrent Chrite, welcome to Bentley. Let's get to work.
Thank you, Kiana and Pon. I now call Matt Banks, Associate Director of Diversity and Inclusion, Jaro Fong Olivares, Executive Director of the Gloria Cordes Larson Center for Women in Business, and Vaughn Williams, Director of Athletics, to deliver greetings on behalf of staff.
My first time meeting President Chrite was actually on his first day at Bentley when he attended the annual LGBTQ+ Pride flag raising. Like most small, quick, symbolic events, I expected a quick meet and greet with a fast exit. I mean, it was your first day after all. However, after the event concluded, President Chrite remained at the flagpole for 30 minutes, talking with students, faculty, and staff present. He moved quietly from group to group, introducing himself, asking questions, and just generally trying to get to know people. Over the course of that time, I saw him come alive as he built community, striving to understand and see the beauty of the people on this campus. And as I have seen him become more immersed in Bentley, I know this one event was not a fluke. He has an intuitive ability to connect personally with others. President Chrite, please know that I and many others deeply appreciate this person-centered approach you take. I know it will continue to serve Bentley well. Congratulations, welcome, and I promise to keep inviting you to as many things as I can possibly can.
Hey folks, seems like I'm representing the introverts because my remarks are a little bit briefer than everyone else's, but I'm thrilled to be here to do my part to welcome Dr. Chrite. Over the past few months, I've had the opportunity to learn more about Dr. Chrite as a person and as a leader. I'm energized and hopeful about his vision for Bentley and how we can come together as a community to make Bentley known for making business a force for good. Dr. Chrite, you are the leader for Bentley now. You balance integrity, caring, and business acumen. I am thrilled to welcome you to the university and to our community. I look forward to working with you.
Good afternoon. Dr. Chrite, on behalf of the 750 student athletes, coaches, and staff, we welcome you to the Bentley community. Your spirit to serve is evident. Your energy is infectious. Dr. Chrite, we're one team, one vision, one goal, and athletics stands 100% behind you. Welcome.
Thank you, Matt, Jaro, and Vaughn. It is my pleasure to call Chuck Copa, member of the class of 1985 and chair of the Global Alumni Board, and Dominique Balzaro-Rivere, member of the class of 2020 and chair of the Falcons of the last decade, to the stage.
No one ever likes to follow Vaughn, so I'll do my best. I had the distinct pleasure and privilege to serve on the Presidential Selection Committee on behalf of the GAB and your Alumni Association. One of the many things that struck me about President Chrite was his proven leadership and relationship building skills. And I think in this crazy world that we're living in today, the ability to reach across the table and work with other people to form lasting, respective, good relationships cannot be understated. On behalf of the Global Alumni Board of Directors and the 65,000 alumni, welcome and thank you.
I've had the pleasure of being a co-chair of FOLD, Falcons of the Last Decade, for the past year. We've worked diligently to connect with Bentley students and increase alumni interactions, joining current and past students to bask in this wonderful experience that Bentley has cultivated. Since coming to the university, President Chrite has made alumni engagement and philanthropy two of his top priorities. He stresses the importance of coming together as a community and giving back to the institution that has given so much to us. This is evident by this past Falcons Forward Giving Day, where we saw amazing success in alumni participation. We are so excited to continue working with President Chrite and look forward to what else can be achieved. On behalf of all the alumni within Falcons of the Last Decade, we want to extend a warm welcome to President Chrite. Thank you.
Thank you, Chuck and Dominique. Thank you all for those warm and heartfelt welcomes. Please join me in welcoming Athene Wilson to the stage for her performance of If I Can Help Somebody.
Dr. Chrite. Is it on now? Oh, it's on now. Once again, thank you so much, and congratulations. Absolutely, absolutely. If I can help somebody as I travel along, if I can help somebody with a word or a song, if I can help somebody from doing wrong, then my living shall not be in vain. Then my living shall not be in vain. Then my living shall not be in vain. Oh, if I can help somebody as I pass along, then my living shall not be in vain. If I can do my duty as a good man ought, if I can bring back beauty in the world abroad, if I can spread the message that the Master taught, then my living shall not be in vain. Then my living shall not be in vain. Then my living shall not be in vain. Oh, if I can help somebody as I pass along, then my living shall not be in vain. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Athene. I call upon Agai Jones to share remarks on behalf of Dr. Michael Lomax, Chief Executive Officer and President of the United Negro College Fund, who could not be with us today.
Hello, Bentley. I would just like to second our program director in saying that was beautiful, Athene. I've known Dr. Chrite and Phyllis Chrite for over 20 years, and he's the kind of leader who helps connect students like me at the time with my purpose, and you've made an excellent selection. My name is Agai Jones. I am not Dr. Lomax, but I'm also a Morehouse College graduate, and so I feel very well to be here representing him. So I'll just proceed with his remarks. Michael Lomax says, I am deeply disappointed that a bout with COVID is keeping me at home in quarantine and away from today's celebration of my good friend Brent Chrite's inauguration, officially marking his leadership as the 9th president at Bentley University. During his tenure as the 7th president of Bethune-Cookman University, I worked closely with President Chrite and his team as they worked relentlessly to remedy the challenges that our valued Bethune-Cookman faced. Throughout the critical period, President Chrite and his team developed and executed a remediation plan flawlessly and ensured that the university was repositioned for future success. All of us at UNCF and Bethune-Cookman owe Brent Chrite a tremendous debt of gratitude for the extraordinarily well-done job. Throughout that period, I saw repeatedly that Brent Chrite is principled, courageous, and conscientious leader who I believe will work relentlessly with the entire Bentley University community to enable the storied institution to set and achieve bold aspirational goals. Additionally, Brent is warm, engaging, witty, and a really nice guy. Bentley University, take it from me, you have certainly made a decision, a great decision, a fine decision in selecting Brent Chrite as your new president. At this moment of ritual celebration, as the entire Bentley community joins together in launching a new era, I wish you and your new president great success. Finally, I hope you will invite me back, Michael Lomax.
Thank you, Agai. I now call Dr. Deborah Spar, Jamie and Josefina Chuao Tiampo Professor of Business Administration and Senior Associate Dean of Business and Global Society at Harvard Business School and Bentley University trustee, to the stage.
Dear friends, it is such a pleasure and an honor to be with you here today and to celebrate the inauguration of Dr. Brent Chrite as the 9th president of Bentley University. It is a happy day and a joyous event. It is particularly wonderful after so many months apart, so many hours spent missing our families and worrying about our loved ones, so many hours staring into our own tired faces on Zoom, to be together as a community in this space, on this campus, and to be participating in a ritual, the robes, the process, the entire pomp and circumstance that predates all of us by hundreds of years. It would therefore be inappropriate on such a happy and historic day to dwell too intently on the pressures that now regularly confront the world of higher education or the expectations being placed upon it. But as a representative from the higher education sector, and as a recently recuperated college president myself, I'd like to take a few minutes this afternoon to describe some of the challenges that lie ahead for our sector, along with the opportunities they present for both Bentley and its wonderful new president. To begin with, I would be remiss not to note that the core of our financial model, the model that has existed ever since the birth of American higher education in the 17th century, has simply become too expensive for most Americans to afford. This isn't necessarily the result of bad people making bad decisions. It isn't all about climbing walls or lazy rivers. I've been told that Bentley has neither. Rather, the rising cost of higher education simply reflects the fact that what we do is both inherently expensive and difficult to scale. When you double the number of students in, say, a freshman writing seminar, the quality of instruction shifts accordingly. When you introduce more students onto a residential campus, you need more dorms, more advisors, more classrooms, more everything. In academia, the marginal costs rarely go down, which means that we are intrinsically expensive. In 2022, only an estimated 11% of students at four-year research universities were able to pay full tuition. And that's already considering only the students who felt empowered and able to apply to those schools. So clearly, the future of American education will be, must be, based in large part around tackling the central issue of affordability. That is, it must entail not only cutting costs, but also widening resources, providing more generous financial aid, exploring more efficient and innovative pathways to get students to and through a college education, and critically, expanding the pool of students to include those millions of young people who don't yet see college as something that is potentially within their grasp. This is a tough set of issues to contemplate, but it's also an area where Bentley and Brent are poised to excel. Bentley has a long and storied history of providing a high-quality college education to students who are hungry for one. It has an equally long and storied history of solid fiscal management and financial stewardship. The educational sector of the future will need more of these skills and this example. It will need more channels through which ambitious young people can see their futures and craft their lives, gaining an education that will help support them financially as well as intellectually. Meanwhile, of course, and somewhat counterintuitively, even as the value of a college degree is becoming increasingly evident, the value proposition of that degree is also coming under attack. We know statistically, and I know you all know statistics, that a college degree is incredibly beneficial. To give you one data point, of the 11.6 million jobs created in the United States between 2010 and 2020, over 8.4 million of them, 72%, have gone to individuals with bachelor's degree. One more data point. On average, bachelor's degree recipients earn $25,000 more every year than high school graduates. So on purely financial terms, a college education is definitely worth the price of admission. More importantly, we know, personally and anecdotally, how a college education can fire the mind and change the future of any young person lucky enough to attain one. I have seen, and I suspect many of you have as well, how the eyes of a 19-year-old can literally light up when they find that spark, that eureka explosion, that moment when several strands of knowledge suddenly collide in their brains and they see the world in a new way, in their own way. You don't get those moments by accident. You don't get those moments without learning from dedicated educators, without being in classrooms and on campuses where ideas are purposely meant to collide. But that argument in favor of higher education is indeed an argument today, rather than a commonly held belief. Especially in the wake of the pandemic, many non-educational organizations are offering alternatives to a four-year university degree, some very good and some very bad. Many critics from the political right, the left, the center, and everywhere in between are voicing their dissent around what a college education is and what it should be. Now, part of this criticism is undoubtedly our own fault, and part of it is well-deserved. College is too expensive, as I stated earlier. Colleges in general have not innovated radically enough, and they haven't tackled the constraints on free speech, and increasingly even on free thought that have become rampant across many of our campuses. But higher education is too precious, too critical, too fundamental not only to our economy, but to our nation, to let it wither or to be disrupted out of existence. And Bentley, once again, is in an enviable position because a Bentley education has always been about learning the craft of real-world skills. It has always been about understanding the techniques of business and management, of refining and examining these techniques through the vital prism of the humanities, and ultimately and explicitly, it has been about using business tools to address societal issues, or as a current construction has it, about changing the world through and for business. This is what the world of higher education will need more of in the future, not less. So what will it take to lead Bentley into this future? And why are we so lucky to have President Chrite at the helm of this university at this critical moment of time? Let me share 3 observations. Number 1, educational leadership over the next few decades will demand not only intelligence, but what my mother would call common sense, cleverness, wisdom. It will take the ability to define a very specific mission for each institution of higher learning, and then to work with the community to craft a strategy that fits that institution's assets, its resources, and its aspirations. This is harder than it sounds, because not all colleges and universities can do the same thing. They shouldn't. Instead, they and their leaders need the wisdom, the common sense, to figure out what they are particularly good at and where they can double down and be better. They need to break away from the jargon of education and really figure out what kind of learning they want to deliver and to whom. Thankfully, Brent Chrite has already developed and demonstrated that kind of wisdom. At the University of Denver, he led efforts to develop an entirely new curriculum based around having students solve real-world problems and work together in innovative learning modules. At Montclair's Feliciano School of Business, he created a Center for Entrepreneurship, which helped to increase graduate enrollment by 24%. And at Bentley, as we've heard today, he has already displayed his formidable intellect and his ability to depict not only where Bentley is today, but where it can be in the future. Number 2, the institutions that will thrive in and define the future of higher education will also be those with the guts and the gumption to make tough decisions. In the past, universities could reasonably hope to be all things to all people. They could offer a full range of majors, a complete slate of activities. They could usually, and with some finesse, manage the often competing demands of students, faculty, staff, parents, and alumni. That delicate balancing act will no longer suffice. Instead, universities and their leaders will need to examine their trade-offs more directly, deciding where to focus, where to excel, and where to step back. This is tough. But in Brent, Bentley is lucky again. This is a man who has led programs in Rwanda and Afghanistan, some of the most complicated regions of the world. A man who made the extremely tough decision to cancel his college's Division I sports schedule during the first wave of the COVID-19 pandemic. This is a man who apparently proposed to the woman who is still his wife 6 weeks after meeting her. In the months since stepping into the presidency, Brent has already moved with speed and alacrity. He is never rash, he's never impetuous, he's never mean. Rather, he weighs his decisions, he consults widely, he considers the options, and then he acts. Finally, number 3. This is the piece that is often neglected, but matters so much, and that is heart, caring, kindness, soul. Higher education is a tough business. It's a challenging business. It often does feel like a thankless slog. But the people who are really good at it, the people who can change it and sustain it and make it thrive, are the ones who can see and communicate the sheer joy of the enterprise. These are the people who are continually concerned not only with a handful of students, but with all students. The ones who strive to make their campus an intellectual community, a place of learning, a home. These are the educational leaders who commit to their university's mission with every fiber of their being, and the ones who remain perpetually willing to seek and revel in the magic that education can and should bring. Brent is that kind of leader. He is that kind of person. He has seen the transformative power of education in his own life and has dedicated his life to bringing that same transformation to others. I look forward to watching Bentley evolve under his very wise counsel and to seeing what its very bright future will bring. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Spar. I now call Dr. B. Joseph White, President Emeritus and Professor Emeritus of the University of Illinois, to the stage.
Thank you. I think I don't need this little stool. Uh-oh, it doesn't move. It's made everybody look as tall as I am, but now I'll be even taller than they are. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm totally fired up to be here. I'm dying to hear Brent, so I'm going to be mercifully brief. I come today simply to heap praise on Brent and Phyllis, and to express my admiration for and excitement for your university. You, the Bentley community, and Brent and Phyllis are so fortunate to have found each other. I've simply never known a finer man than Brent Chrite. My wife Mary and I have never known a more committed couple than Brent and Phyllis. Mary and I had a private measure for people's character and commitment when, as young parents, we would ask each other, if we were out of the picture, would we entrust our children to those two? When Brent and I began working together in the early 1990s, and when we first met Phyllis, our answer to that question was a resounding yes, and it has never changed. Why is this relevant to Bentley and your new president? Well, it's very simple. The university president has a lot of jobs: setting direction, raising money, being chief HR person for the faculty, but those are not the most important jobs. The most important job is creating an environment in which young adults, with the guidance of the faculty, can learn, develop, and thrive, find their way, nail down their values, experience achievement, overcome adversity, prepare for the future. And Brent would be the first one to say that this is already the environment at Bentley, and he would say that maintaining it and improving it is not his job alone, it's a team effort. And it's true, but leadership really matters. And Brent will deliver to you that leadership, firm and friendly, with clarity and consensus, through diligence and deliberation. And all the time, invisibly to us, Phyllis and her love and support will keep him grounded, energetic, and resilient. How do I know? Because I've seen Brent lead effectively over and over again for 30 years. I'll tell you just one story to illustrate Brent's leadership. In the mid-90s, when I was dean of the Ross School of Business at the University of Michigan, Brent and I began to work together. Following the collapse of the Berlin Wall, we were sending students to have amazing professional experience all over the former communist world in what we call the emerging market economies. Some of our students wanted to work in Africa, but we had no partners, no connections, no knowledge to make it happen. So even though it had nothing to do with your day job, I'll call it, I asked Brent if he would take the lead. He agreed and headed off to Southern Africa. When Mary and I visited a few months later, We saw our students having the best experience with the best partners of any of our students in the world. And by the way, when we visited, we also had the opportunity, through Brent's efforts, to have an unforgettable meeting with Archbishop Desmond Tutu in Cape Town when he took a break from chairing the Truth and Reconciliation Committee. And then a couple days later, we had an incredible breakfast with Sam Nujoma, the first president of an independent Namibia. I still don't know how you arrange those meetings. I have no idea. Brent was about 30 years old at the time when he did all this. And since then, he's delivered the same great leadership as a managing director, a dean, and a president. Let me wrap up by telling you what you can count on with Brent as your president. Number one, integrity. He's honest, he's candid, he makes commitments carefully and keeps them faithfully. Second, he's courageous. As Deborah said, he's worked in very tough places like Afghanistan, parts of Africa, and Ukraine. Brent won't be shrinking from hard stuff here or anywhere anytime soon. Third, Brent's compassionate. He told me in a phone call recently how strongly he feels for and about the people with whom he worked in Afghanistan and Ukraine who are going through unimaginable crisis now. And he told me how he's trying to help those people. But let me add, Brent's compassionate with everyone. He knows that having some privilege doesn't mean being free of pain. Third, commitment. Very simple. In everything Brent does, from his marriage and family to his work, Brent is all in. And believe me, he is all in on Bentley. And fourth, change. You can count on change. It's coming. It needs to come. It won't be frivolous change, but rather good change, needed change, wise change. Brent understands that if an institution is standing still, it's declining. He'll be very straight with you about what he thinks is needed. He'll consult wisely and listen carefully, and he'll work harder than anybody in leading change. And rest assured, that change will benefit current and future generations of Bentley students, faculty, staff, and alumni. Now, I'm going to go off script and tell you the final thing you can expect. Because as you can tell, I love Brent, and I've known him a long time, but this has been difficult for me over the last 30 years. Gentlemen, most of the time, Brent is going to look better than you do. He can't help it. He's not vain. He's not a clothes horse. He just can't help it. The guy looks good. And don't even try this, because one time Mary, sitting here, said, my wife Mary said to me, well, can't you look a little more like Brent? And I love her, and we've been married a long time. I try to please her, so I said, yeah, I think I can. So I went out and bought clothes like Brent's. You know what? It didn't help. Clothes look better on Brent. So anyway, gentlemen, get used to it. Soon you too will be accustomed to being known as Brent's slightly less elegant friend. Thank you very much. Brent, look forward to it.
Thank you, Dr. White. I now call Paul Condrin to complete the investiture.
Bentley has installed a president only on 8 previous occasions in the 105-year history of our university. A fact that demonstrates the depth of commitment to the school among our past leaders. All served with remarkable energy, sure vision, and steady determination. I am honored that 2 of these esteemed individuals are able to join us here today. Joseph G. Marone, president from 1997 to 2005, and Gloria Cortez Larson, President from 2007 to 2018. Please stand so that, please. Today, we formally welcome Dr. LaBrent Chrite to this distinguished company. Dr. Chrite, please come forward and join me. The Board of Trustees has chosen you as the president of Bentley University. It will now be your privilege and responsibility, like those who have come before you, to lead this great university forward in its work to educate creative, ethical, and socially responsible organizational leaders, and to impact change across the business and the arts and sciences. We are confident that your enthusiasm for Bentley University's mission, vision, and core values, your wise and collaborative leadership style, and your belief in the power of business to create solutions to human problems will enable the institution to fulfill its great promise for years to come. Now, by virtue of the authority vested in me as chair of the Bentley University Board of Trustees, I commit to you the charter of the institution, which appears to my left. And place over your shoulders the great seal of the university, the symbol of the high office that you now hold, and proclaim you president of Bentley University. So on behalf of the Board of Trustees, I welcome you as president of Bentley University. You have our full confidence and unwavering support to lead this institution through the next chapter in its history. Members and friends of the Bentley community, I present to you the 9th president of Bentley University, Dr. LaBrent Chrite.
Thank you. Please be seated. To my trustee colleagues, it's a good thing that these investitures happen only once, because this could really go to your head. although in my case, Phyllis wouldn't allow that to happen, but you never know. Yes, we knew each other 6 weeks, and we're engaged. 36 years later, it only gets better. But for you young people, we don't recommend that. Do not try this at home. Reverend Bodrick, thank you for that moving and eloquent invocation. And Athene, I can't wait to the next song, so thank you. Chair Paul Condrin, members of the Bentley Board of Trustees and Trustees Emeriti, former Presidents Marone and Larson, Dr. Michael Lomax in absentia, and Mr. Guy Jones in his stead, Dr. Deborah Spar, and Dr. B. Joseph White, members of my family, and in particular, my lovely wife Phyllis, and our kids, Ellery, Adriana, and Jordan, and esteemed delegates, faculty, staff, students, alumni, friends from across the country. Thank you for joining us on this very special occasion. Phyllis and I are deeply moved by the outpouring of support, goodwill, and generosity expressed here this afternoon. And we are honored that you have come here today to fellowship and celebrate with us. My first 10 months at Bentley University have been incredible and incredibly busy. When I arrived last June, priority number one was ensuring a safe and successful, fully operational 2021-22 academic year for our students, faculty, and staff. I stand here today delighted to be in this space together with each of you on this occasion. These past 10 months have also been defined by incredible transition and growth. From working with my executive leadership team, along with hundreds of members of this community on an ambitious strategic positioning effort that will redefine this institution's next chapter, to getting to know our amazing students who continue to inspire me daily. I've also valued getting to know our outstanding faculty and staff and my new bosses, many of whom sitting behind me, and to beginning to understand the rhythms and cadence of a new organization. Throughout this period, Phyllis and I have loved exploring the beauty and the history of Waltham. That's right, Waltham. It's not Waltham. We thought it was Waltham. Sounds like it should be Waltham, but it's Waltham. And Boston, a corner of the country that was foreign to us prior to our arrival. We're learning to appreciate the many of New England's rich traditions, and we've witnessed firsthand the majesty of its vistas and coastal landscapes. We've also come to understand many of the unusual sort of regional idiosyncrasies that I'll save for another time. But I will say, I am actually rooting for the Celtics, which is as unbelievable as anything that could come out of my mouth. Can't really believe it, but I am. Must be the water. These first 10 months have been incredible, but they have not been without their challenges. The highs Phyllis and I have experienced in joining this community have been tempered by enduring reminders of the cumulative, persistent, and yet to be fully recognized consequences of a devastating 2-year period. I have been especially sensitive to the shockingly disproportionate impact of COVID-19 on marginalized communities, and in particular, communities of color. Beyond the immediate health consequences, there is irrefutable evidence of the inability of these communities to withstand the harsh blows of the pandemic's economic fallout, and this has been difficult to witness. The pandemic also highlighted the fragility of this country's overall well-being, evidenced by near historic tumult, and calling into question some of our most revered norms and institutions. Over the past 2 years, we've had to navigate grievance, intolerance, racial violence, deplatforming, white nationalism, and near nihilistic political upheaval. I also acknowledge the impact of all of this on the psychosocial well-being of our students and of young people in general across this country. And so in this sense, I began my presidency at Bentley with the need to reconcile my excitement and joy and optimism and gratitude amidst powerful reminders of the incomplete nature of the American project, of the great distance between the realities of life and death in the United States, and of our need to bridge the chasm between this nation's highest ideas and the realities for so many members of our community. Despite that, I remain buoyed by the American promise and by the unequivocal role that Bentley and institutions like it can and must assume in shaping the next generation of leaders and in strengthening our nation's foundational cornerstones of fairness and opportunity. Recent events have made it a uniquely interesting time to be in higher education. Deborah alluded to these. The influence of myriad disruptions, including disaggregated faculty models, low-cost, agile new entrants, price point sensitivities, questions as to efficacy and value, a focus on competencies versus credentialing, the institutional operating models that are, to put it mildly, misaligned with many of those we serve. Moreover, some of the same conditions have similarly transformed the global economic landscape, increasingly defined by the explosive connectivity and asymmetric upheaval. In an economic marketplace migrating toward the intersection of digital and physical technologies, and in which traditional business models are being regularly upended by blockchain, AI, ML, crypto, the metaverse, and technology still yet to be properly defined, we cannot assume an easy fit between institutions and a changing world. But I believe that Bentley can and must assume its rightful place in shaping the next generation of leaders in this landscape, because it is within this environment of technological upheaval and global uncertainty that Bentley can fulfill its best and highest aspirations. It's part of who we are and who we've been since our founding. Bentley University was a natural fit for me. I'm a business school guy. I believe in the power of the marketplace and of democratic capitalism and in the importance of the private sector. As you've heard, I spent 25, 30 years engaging in some of the most least developed and opaque markets on the planet. And I hold no illusions that capitalism is the equivalent of some magical elixir or a panacea. There is, in fact, a pronounced underbelly to our current economic system. Marx referred to it in its most insidious form as overripe capitalism. And to be clear, capitalism's record on environmental degradation, on low-skilled workers, and its contributions to unsustainable and pernicious levels of income inequality, to name a few issues, should give us all pause. But I have yet to identify a viable alternative, and so I prefer to commit my energies toward the creation of a renewed, more enlightened capitalism so that its very real benefits, which include opportunity, purchasing power, market choice, and access to goods and services, for example, can be extended to all citizens. Our work at Bentley at this intersection of business and the arts and science enables us to develop a generation of leaders committed to shaping capitalism's future while confronting the challenges of today and creating the opportunities for tomorrow. And of course, we are actively committed to creating a learning environment that celebrates and harnesses that quintessentially American strength, our rich diversity. But this doesn't fully capture the magic of Bentley. For me, what's most important about Bentley University and what I view as its most consequential contribution is its capacity to fulfill its potential as a powerful, accessible, and meaningful agent of self-actualization and social and economic progress for the next generation of learners and leaders. The American dream means many things to many people, but I hold deeply the conviction that at its core, the American dream includes a possibility that all citizens have the opportunity to move up or down the economic ladder. And in a society that is neither fully meritocratic nor egalitarian, higher education in general and places like Bentley in particular represent a vital gateway to mobility, recently highlighted by Bentley's #8 national ranking for highest return on investment by Georgetown University Center for Education and the Workforce. So I'm gonna repeat that again. Of 45, hold applause, this is worthy of applause, but of 4,500 universities assessed across the country by the Center for Education and the Workforce at Georgetown University, Bentley came in 8th overall in 20 and 40-year return on investment. So mobility, access, and opportunity are ideas that were central to our university at its founding. So we're obviously proud of our placement rates for our graduates, which are consistently off the charts, and thanks in large part to our incredible staff at the Pulsifer Center for Career Development and our faculty. And we have every intention of maintaining our primacy in this area. That, in fact, is part of the machine that has helped us earn the recognition for return on investment. But for us, placement rates and initial career success are table stakes. And these efforts are baked into the institution's DNA. The question on which our community must now focus is, what's Bentley's bold bet for the future? Let me offer today, if I may, 3 possibilities. When the Bentley School of Accounting and Finance was founded in 1917, most students were from working class families and were what we would refer to today as first gen. Mr. Bentley's burgeoning institution was also known to be open to ethnic, religious, and racial minorities who generally faced limited acceptance or outright rejection by more established institutions at that time. To this day, Bentley strives to follow Mr. Bentley's lead in making this an institution that opens its doors to students seeking an opportunity to transform their lives and that of their families. Evidenced in part by the First Gen program, Bentley's new Bentley First program, Discover Bentley, and of course our longstanding STEP program. In this sense, Bentley University is, as Ron Daniels posits in his book, What Universities Owe Democracy, quote, part of a long history of higher education institutions in this country that are a place of pluralistic inclusion that mirrors the nation itself, end quote. It seems to me that one of our bold bets must be to extend this platform of opportunity so that we might reduce the distance between the rungs of the economic ladder. This is central to Bentley's legacy. Quoting our founder, the long-range success of the Bentley School, I like that, the Bentley School, must depend upon far-sighted planning in which recognition of a changing world in education should not be obscured by traditional prejudices or by a lack of progressive thinking, end quote. That means finding and empowering more students like Tom Yoon, class of 2005, and the son of immigrants who came from China to America and opened a Chinese restaurant in Dorchester to support their family. Tom knew at an early age that the restaurant business was not for him, and his family recognized that as well. So he worked hard in high school, earned the scholarship to Bentley, and as a commuter student, earned an undergrad degree in corporate finance and accounting and a master's in taxation. His Bentley education paid off. He recently made partner in a Boston accounting firm and heads the company's life sciences group and was named to the Boston Business Journal's 40 Under 40 list of the best and brightest young professionals in Greater Boston. Tom is just one example of Harry Bentley's legacy. And I stand here today and say that we can and will do better in this critical area of access and opportunity for those who want to build a better future for themselves and their families. The world will face big, ill-structured, wicked problems in the decades ahead. My second big bet is that Bentley can and will be the institution that solves those intractable problems through and for business. There are myriad paths to follow, and I'm committed to empowering our students and our faculty to pursue their passion. But one path that comes to mind for me is the area of healthcare, managing the efficacy, access, costs, the delivery, quality of healthcare services for all citizens is one of the nation's most complex challenges. Solutions to these issues will not be found in one sector, one policy, or one institution. They will require a renewed multidisciplinary approach. Just last week, Bentley University was fortunate to receive one of the largest gifts in the history of the university, dedicated to developing solutions and leaders in this vital and rapidly evolving area. Brothers Chris Smith and Greg Smith generously invested in Bentley to strengthen our innovative work in healthcare. The impressive work of Bentley's Health Thought Leadership Network under the leadership of Professor Danielle Hartigan is just the beginning for us. The beginning of the creation of a robust and scalable platform to strengthen Bentley's ability to serve as a catalyst for innovation and impact with many of Boston's most renowned healthcare institutions. Bentley's third big bet will be about how this all comes together in today's competitive environment. We must commit to continuously improving the quality and rigor that defines our academic foundation while simultaneously creating an agile entrepreneurial ecosystem necessary for today's innovation economy. Toward this end, we will develop leaders who are human-centered, data-enabled, and ethically grounded for a dynamic global marketplace that continues to accelerate exponentially. The future of business and democratic capitalism will be less about allocative economic efficiencies than about its capacity to create solutions to human problems and bring those solutions to scale. That is good business. Identifying opportunities in the market that others missed led to the founding and success of Bentley University in the early 20th century. In today's environment, the disruptions around the corner require a similar level of prescience, will, and courage. And this is where Bentley University will shine. It is a great privilege to lead this university and its most important stakeholders on this next phase of its journey. Thank you for being here today and for entrusting me with leading this incredible institution into its next great era. I'm excited by the opportunity of working closely with this incredible community to take Bentley University to the next tier of excellence in a marketplace that will demand nothing less. Take care of yourselves, take care of one another, enjoy the rest of this day. God bless you, and thank you.
Thank you, and congratulations, President Chrite. I now call Athene Wilson back to the stage for her performance of Rise Up.
broken down and tired, living life on a merry-go-round. You can't fight the fighter, but I see it in you. We're gonna walk it out and move mountains. We're gonna walk it out and move mountains. We'll rise up, rise like the day. We'll rise up, rise unafraid. We'll rise up. We'll do it 1,000 times again. We'll rise up, rise like the waves. We'll rise up, in spite of the ache. We'll rise up and do it 1,000 times again. For you, for you, for you, oh, for you. When the silence isn't quiet and it feels like it's getting hard to breathe, I know you can feel like dying, but I know you're gonna take it to its feet and mountains, gonna work it out and move mountains. And we'll rise up, rise like the day. We'll rise up, in spite of the ache. We'll rise up, and we'll do it 1,000 times again. Yes, we'll rise up, rise like the waves. We'll rise up, in spite of the ache. We'll rise up, and we'll do it 1,000 times again. For you, for you, for you, oh, for you, yeah. For you, for you, for you, oh, for you, for you, for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Athene. That was amazing. It is customary in presidential inaugurations to offer a prayer of thanks and blessing. Today, members of Bentley's Spiritual Life Center join us to offer their benediction to President Chrite. Please join me in welcoming Reverend Robin Olson, Father Ted Brown, Rabbi Jeffrey Faust, and Reverend Ian Mavorick to the stage.
Thank you. We need to rise up. Rise up. And I'm thinking if you have your pennant, if you are all in on Team 9, like I am, we need to rise up. Our chaplain team from the Spiritual Life Center stands united to honor the religious, spiritual, and ethical traditions represented here today. And we stand with joy. And we delight in the big smiles, especially in this proud front row. The big smiles that we can actually see amongst our family, because guess what? Joy is unmasked today, and we celebrate this. And we celebrate the captain of Team 9, President LaBrent Chrite, today and his inauguration. Now, at a recent town hall meeting, President Chrite opened up with a PowerPoint slide of Jalaluddin Rumi, a 13th century Sufi Muslim poet, not a business leader often referenced on campus. And my colleagues and I, Rabbi Faust, Father Ted, and Reverend Ian, we were all texting back and forth. Rumi, he's beginning us with Rumi. We're really sorry for texting during your meeting. But sometimes when there's good news, it just needs to be shared. Team 9. If Rumi were alive today, he'd be fasting alongside our Bentley Muslim community, observing this core spiritual practice in the month of Ramadan. And I'm just going to speak for Rumi here. I also think Rumi would be excited to share in the good news of Dr. Chrite's leadership. For his leadership is meeting us at the intersection of business, ethics, and social impact. Hear this quote from Rumi. On a day when the wind is perfect, the sail just needs to open and love starts. Today is such a day. President Chrite, we're ready. We have weathered some fierce pandemic storms, but today, that wind just feels perfect. Our sails are full. Love starts. And so we bless you and Phyllis and Ellery Jr., Adriana and Jordan, and all of this beautiful group here. We bless you and we pray for you. And now we bless your inauguration with these wise words for leadership from our mutual friend, Rumi.
Be like the sun and be a source of grace and mercy. Be like the night and cover others' faults.
Be like running water for generosity. Be like death for rage and anger.
Be like the earth for modesty. Appear as you are. Be as you appear.
Go in the grace and peace to serve the common good. Be a force for love. Amen.
You may be seated. I call upon Paul Condrin to bring the inauguration of President LaBrent Chrite to a close.
My sincere thanks to all who have joined us here to begin the next remarkable chapter in our history. The investiture of the 9th President of Bentley University is hereby concluded. Thank you.
Please remain at your seats for the recessional, then join us in the concourse for a light reception. Will those in the academic recession please rise?